What is up? We are back. Another Bang the Drum episode coming to you live on Tuesday night. What's going on, Kyle?
Another day closer to real football.
Yeah, it's getting to the point now where I'm just done. I'm just ready for football.
The first week, you're like, oh hell yeah, football's back. Week 2, you're like, okay, this is fine. And then after that, it's just like, okay, can week 1 be here?
Well, this weekend's going to be tough because nobody's playing. I mean, I guess the Jets are playing Aaron Rodgers, but I think that's the only team that's going to play any starters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got college at least to watch.
Yep, that is true. Got that to get us through.
But yeah, man, it's just been so fucking hot.
Oh,
I'm ready for this to be done, but
I work in an office and I'm still miserable.
Yeah, me too. I've been working at home the last few days.
It's like 78 degrees in the office. I'm like, I know that the people out in the shop are so much worse off, but this still sucks.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Tori's playing softball tonight.
Ugh, no.
So, all right, so let's kind of jump into it. Week 2 reactions. Sorry, guys.
I the banner at the same time I do.
I think we're both clicking the banner at the same time. I'll let you control the banners. So let's just kind of jump into our week 2 reactions. Let's just start off with the ones on offense. What did you think?
Obviously, they look much better. Typical slow start for the Chiefs, like they do. Way too much for my comfort levels, but much better. I know you said offense, but on both sides of the ball. Just, Mahomes on his game. All the quarterbacks really on their game, which sucks for Bouchel that he got to show out, and it might not even be enough. But, yeah, first team looked better, ready to roll from anything I can see. Figuring out receiving, who's going to play third, fourth, fifth, whoever. But otherwise, I think they're ready to roll. The offensive line looked great. 38 pass attempts on the night, I guess. It was a night game. And 0 QB hits is a beautiful sight.
Mahomes said that after the game, too. Hey, part of what I wanted in the preseason was to take a hit, and I didn't get hit once.
The tackles look so good. And I really think it's going to let us do a whole lot, even more stuff than we normally do. A lot more screens because they're a lot more athletic than what we've had in the past. A lot more, outside stuff. I really think it's going to help Pacheco in the receiving game. Get him some easy screens. Get Taylor and Smith out there blocking for him. It's fun to watch, and I think they're gonna. I've heard it a couple times. Could this be the best group of offensive linemen that Mahomes has had? Tough when he had Fisher and Schwartz, but these tackles with this interior offensive lineman, if they play like they have been, it'd be tough for this not to be the best group.
The Chiefs have the best interior line in the league. I don't think that. I mean, trying to think of who comes close.
I don't think
they have the best left guard, center, right guard in the league, and I don't think it's close. But my kind of takeaway from the offense was that's just what you want to see in the preseason. That's kind of what they've done. Is all right. They kind of that. Okay, let me back up. So last week it was like, what the hell? Because usually the ones go out there and they score and it's like, all right, they're ready to roll, and then it's done. And they didn't do that last week. And then this week they did. So they just looked ready.
Yeah, it's weird. In the preseason, the first team offense goes out there like last year, scored on both their opening drives. And then during the season, every other game, they score 3 points in the first quarter. And so I hope that, we're not getting the I guess I hope we are getting the opposite, where they start slow in the preseason and then they start fast in the regular season.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to
Tired
see
of coming
anybody
from behind every other game.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anybody in the regular season, but something that you just said too about coming from behind. Maybe it's a conversation for another day. It probably is, but last year we couldn't do we had a lot of last game winning drives, but we weren't coming back from down 17, like we were previously the few years before that. So I'm hoping that we can get up on people a little earlier, but Andy Reid likes to keep it close for some reason.
And what'll help, I think, assuming Chris Jones is there week 1, which we can touch on that at the end if we want, like we did last time. I don't think much has changed really. Assuming he's there, this could also be the best defensive group that Mahomes has had. The young corners are another year experience. Same with the linebackers. If we can get some pass rush outside of Chris Jones, we don't have a weak point in the defense anymore.
I still want another guy.
Yeah, I would love to bring Dunlap back.
Yeah, I think they just need one. They need one more guy, or Karlaftis needs to get 12 sacks. That's kind of where I'm at.
And I think him and FAU, this year, who knows? They're still crazy young, but moving forward could be great. FAU's already shown some flashes. He's good with his hands. He's good with his feet. He's got multiple moves. And Karlaftis can kind of do it all. He's not necessarily a huge sack number guy, but he'll give you a motor. He'll give you everything. He's got every play. He's good in the run game. So it's definitely looking good for the future, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then for the defense for me, I got a little worried. I know they didn't give up any points, but McCoy was getting some yards. He had a couple plays, but I don't know. There's not a ton. I mean, you're missing Chris Jones. I don't think there was a ton to take away. Felix looked pretty good. I was kind of trying to watch him. But yeah, I mean, like we talked about before the podcast, I said, there wasn't a ton to look at from the ones, and that's because they didn't give up any points. So there's nothing for us to grill them over.
Classic bend, don't break from a Spagnuolo offense. Give up 30 yards every drive, 40 yards every drive, and then, get a stop or hold them to a field goal when they're inside the 15.
That's what matters.
Yeah, I guess, with our offense, hold them to a field goal every drive and you got a chance. But yeah, I'm, kind of all around, just good effort. Chamari Connor just keeps on.
Yeah.
He's good. He's going to have a role on this team.
He's a lock. Yeah, he's a lock now.
And then, they're going to use him in some blitz packages. I know I hate bringing up Daniel Sorensen's name, but Spags likes to do that with him too, especially on third down. So if Chamari can prove that he's not a complete liability in pass coverage, he's going to see the field.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready to get to the meat here.
The meat.
Let's talk about roster implications. So let's just kind of start on the offense. I don't really know how I want to go about this. I'll just say receivers are set. We know who's in, who's out. Fortunately, Remigio is not making the team. He was my guy.
They might be able to IR him, which would be nice.
Maybe. He won't have a role this year, at least. Receiver is set. So we think they're going 7 for sure.
I think it's
right?
7. MVS, for sure. Tony, Ross, Rice, Watson, and James. And 2 other teams, unless they can somehow squeeze them in and squeeze them by waivers, 2 teams are getting impact guys with Amir Smith, Marset, and Cornell Powell.
Yeah, Marset looked good.
Yeah,
he
worth a returner for some team.
He reminded me. Sorry, I just burped. He reminded me of when Darius Fountain kind of popped off, and it was like, man, he looked really good. There's just not a spot.
Yeah, this is the worst year for you to have a good training camp with the Chiefs as a receiver.
Yeah, and he had a huge game.
Yeah.
Let me look at this. He had 150 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Well, he had a big one called back. I think it was only like 100 and some change, but he had like a 40-yarder called back, and then had another long one. But yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate for him. You know, he is the second return man, but again, you know, Richie James has probably got that. Maybe Deneric Prince, which we can talk about that situation next. And then if James goes down, you know, they'll throw someone back there. They'll throw Watson, Sky, someone can go back there.
Yeah. So that's kind of okay. Receivers. Let's just name them all real quick. So you've got Sky, Rice. Rice looked good.
Yeah.
Ross, Sky, Rice, Ross, MVS, Watson, Richie,
and Tony.
Yeah. My dog says hi, everybody. Yeah, that's it. So Sky, Rice, Ross, MVS, Watson, Richie, Tony. That's it.
Yep.
That's who it is.
And from the sounds of it, Tony's going to be maybe not healthy week 1, but healthy enough that they won't have to short-term IR him. That could have been a way to get somebody through, at least through that first big wave of cuts, but looks like he's going to be good enough to keep active.
Okay, so that's what we got kind of at receiver. How many on offensive line do you think that they're going?
I think it'll be, let's see, let me pull up real quick. I've got my list. I think it's going to be 9, I think is what I have.
And what do they usually go? 8 or 9?
8 or 9, yeah.
And then we always have to go sign someone off the street at some point.
Yeah, I think they'll go 4 tackles, Jawan, Donovan, Wanye, and then whoever wins the Prince Tega and Niang battle. And then 5 on the interior, Tooney, Creed, Smith, Allegretti, and I think they'll probably keep Kennard up. They'll probably try to practice squad rider like they have been for the last however many years he's been here.
I would think Reeder would get picked up by someone. I'm surprised. I was kind of surprised to see him out there this preseason because I thought that he got picked up by somebody.
Well, you probably would have thought that every other year, too, but he's been on the practice squad for like the last 2 years somehow, not getting picked up.
Yeah, he's good enough to play.
He started on the Super Bowl team, I'm pretty sure, the first Super Bowl team.
Okay, yeah, I know he did. Okay, so now we can talk tight end.
I think it's 3.
I don't know if Bushman is done. I don't know if he's done enough.
I think tight end, running back is where it gets tricky.
Yeah. So tight end, you got Kelsey.
I think it's running back takes precedence, and then whatever they decide there will then impact tight end. Because that third and or fourth running back spot is weird right now. Clyde's still getting the early work, but who knows if that's just to show him off or if they actually like him.
Yeah, you've got so your for sure 3 is Clyde.
I don't know.
Pacheco.
Well, if they don't
They're
trade
not going to cut him.
If they don't trade him, yes, he's a for sure.
Yeah, Clyde, Pacheco, McKinnon.
And then Pirine is playing over Prince right now. I don't know if they're just trying to hide Prince.
He's playing over Prince.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And Pirine looked good. I remember I texted you. I said Prince with the little spicy emoji.
Yeah, and I was like, that was Pirine.
It was like a swing pass, and he juked the socks off of some defender. So I don't know if this is all just kind of smoke to get.
Hey, we're just going to put him in there at the end in the fourth quarter, and
I wonder if it's maybe so that they don't show him off too much, so that way he passes through waivers and they can bring him back on the practice squad. Because if Clyde's there, they don't need to keep 4 running backs, but they could keep them on the practice squad in case, these guys have not been able to, Pacheco kind of, McKinnon's been hurt in the past. Clyde obviously has been hurt in the past.
I think
Boom,
Pirine will get picked up.
But I wonder if they would rather have him be picked up than Prince.
See,
and so they're showcasing him.
From what I have seen, I like Pirine more.
Pirine's looked
at
good
this point.
This offseason. That's the thing. Is like we've seen him for a year.
He also started for the Jets for 2 years?
No, he was never a starter.
I thought he played.
He played a little bit, but they had Michael Carter when he was there. But yeah, Pirine's looked good. So I don't know. I don't with all 3 of those guys, Clyde, Pirine, and Prince.
Yeah, he didn't. I'm getting him confused with his brother.
I don't know if it's a smokescreen to trade Hilaire, keep Prince, practice squad Pirine, and if we lose him, so be it. Or trade Hilaire, keep Pirine, practice squad Prince. I don't know. It's confusing right now. That's really the only spot I've got questions right now. My 53-man is just about set.
It's who's the tight ends and who are the running backs.
Figure out running back.
Fortson kind of Fortson screwed it all up because tight end was done.
Well, and then he was
going to be on the team
too. I mean, not locked in, but probably a 4th to be the kick returner, and then definitely a 3rd if they trade Hilaire. But right now, I've got 3 running backs with Clyde being 3, and then they'll keep one of the running backs. I would imagine on practice squad. I don't think both of them will get taken. And then I've also got 3 tight ends: Kelsey, Gray, and Bell. I hate that they love Blake Bell.
But they're
going to use him on short yardage as a blocker.
They've made multiple plays for him, and so I think he's on the team. Yeah.
They never work. I hope they use him as a fullback, as a blocker for Pacheco on short yardage, and that's it. Any other time we run a fullback, I hope it's Noah Gray, and I hope he runs a route. I hope he runs a wheel route matched up with some linebacker and just blows by him. I remember I saw a video the other day of Sherman doing the same. How Sherman I didn't know Sherman could even run that far without needing a break. But he caught a pass like 30 yards down the field, and I was like,
he had like a 60-yard touchdown.
I was like, what is happening? But yeah, especially now with having to have 3 quarterbacks, it makes it a little tougher. And then that 3rd and/or 4th.
I want to look at that again because they did something.
I figured it out.
With that.
You have to have them on the 53. But on game day, you only have 46 active. They don't have to be one of those. They can be suited up.
If 2 quarterbacks get hurt, they can still play, though.
Yeah, they're suited up, but don't count against the active roster. But
they do count against the 53.
Yeah, count against the 53, but not against the active 46.
Okay. Yeah, that's good that we figured that out because I was thinking that it was a 54th spot.
No, which makes it. I guess this is the good year to have it happen because, I mean, Bouchel has arguably looked better than Gabbert. The only problem is I still don't know if they'd actually let him play if it came down to it. But at this point, also,
they showed that he's the 2. They showed it. This was the important preseason game, and he was. But they're probably going to reverse it this next week and let
Gabbert.
So who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. There was some. I can't remember the podcast I was listening to. It was probably either KCSN or Arrowhead Addict. They were talking about at what point does Patrick Mahomes not need a veteran backup anymore? He's going into his 7th year in the league. At what point is he the veteran? And he teaches Bouchel.
I don't think that it's there for teaching at this point. I think it's for, hey, this guy has seen real game time
I guess they're using him more for like.
I mean, Gabbert wasn't a great quarterback, but he was a top 32 quarterback for a few years.
Right. It's more of he can carry us for 2 or 3 games if we need him, whereas Buechele could go out there and crap his pants.
Yeah, and I think that's why they keep doing that. But it's going to get to a point where Mahomes is a 12-year pro, and it's like, all right, who are you going to bring in?
Yeah,
I
mean, as long as you've got a team that is a contender, then you want a veteran backup. You want a guy who, okay, if need,
you want a Chase Daniel type.
We trust him to go in there for a drive, a game, a month, whatever. If you're a team, like Tampa Bay, say with Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask is backup. Great. If Baker sucks or he gets hurt, then
they're screwed.
Maybe Trask can show us something.
That's. But yeah, I can kind of see this Buechele thing turning into a Jimmy Garoppolo type thing. I mean, The only way it would turn into that is if he actually got play time. But Jimmy G started like 5 or 6 games, and I think he only lost 1 during his 4 years in New England. So I don't know. I could see it turning into something like that, but
I'd rather it not come up.
Yeah,
I'd rather him not get the chance.
He did show that he can, and like I said, I think I said it on our very first podcast. Like he looks like somebody that could start. And then for anybody watching this, sitting there saying like, "Why are they talking about backup quarterbacks?" da 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 da. This is the time of this is the time of year to do it. This is the time of year whenever you say, "What if?" This is the time of year whenever you spend way too much time talking about stuff that none of what we're talking about now is going to matter in 3 weeks at this point. So we're kind of filling time.
If we have to bring this up again during the regular season, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like something bad has happened.
But it makes you feel comfortable though, because, Chad Henne he was a multiple year starter. Matt Moore was too. Trying to think of who was even before that.
I mean, Chase before him.
And then Nick Foles. Nick Foles was here before he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's time to... Okay. What's next? Defense roster implications. I guess on offense, we could talk a little bit more about tight end. I just think that it's done.
I think the only question is
Bushman needs to have 200.
Yeah. Does Bushman get in?
Bushman needs to go out and have a 200-yard receiving game with 3 touchdowns to make the team.
Problem is right now, I've got 25 on the offense, 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 7 receivers, 3 tight ends, and 9 offensive linemen. I don't know where they could, unless they think they could squeeze. No, you can't go. You can't only have 1 backup interior offensive lineman. That's a disaster waiting to happen. I don't know where they cut one down unless they go 26 offense, 24 defense to get either 4 running backs or 4 tight ends. Like, you've got to have 3 quarterbacks. I want to
find that image I sent you because I don't remember how many tight ends we usually go with. Andy Reid has gone with the same exact.
Let's see.
So he usually goes 3 tight ends, but last year we had 4.
Because
typically he goes 3. His second year here we had 5, but that's an outlier. That's the only time that's happened. So.
And I think he obviously trusts Blake.
I'm sorry, I was looking at running back. We usually go 4.
No Gray. We usually go 4?
Yeah. Sorry. I was looking at running back.
But I wonder if that, with it not being Fortson, like, is Bushman good enough to warrant a 4th tight end versus a 4th
running back? The thing is there's no – so we usually go 3 running backs and 4 tight ends. But there's no fullback.
Yeah, so we've got that.
So that makes me think they're going 4 tight ends and 7
But we've got the extra receiver too.
Well, see, that's where kind of goes back as we usually only have 5.
Right. So that extra fullback spot is being absorbed with the receivers. Here's a couple things that could happen. Either they cut Bushman because they think he's easier to get back than Pirine or Prince, and they keep one of them and go 4 and 3. Or they can cut Blake Bell as a vested veteran to keep Bushman, keep Pirine, keep Prince, whoever, and then work something out, get someone else on practice squad, and bring Blake Bell back the next day. Because he's a vested veteran, he doesn't have to go through the same waivers as a younger player.
Yeah, I don't know what to think there, because I think we're gonna go 3. I don't see anything else happening. I really don't.
And I'm looking at the defense. I guess we could go 4 linebackers, but I don't think we're gonna. We could go 5 corners, I guess, but with Nick
I
Jones,
can see 4 linebackers.
The problem is Cochran's been looking good, and Cole Christensen, out of absolutely nowhere, has led the team in tackles both games, is flying all over the field. But, yeah, I don't know if they take him over Cochran. They certainly don't take him over Chenal.
I think 4 linebackers, I don't think that's out of the realm at all. I think we usually take 4.
And then I've got 6 corners, but one of them is Nick Jones, who is currently hurt, and who knows when he's coming back.
Okay, so we usually take 5 to 6 linebackers.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 5. Christensen would be 6, which I don't think I think it'll be Cochran or Christensen. I don't think they carry both. That would be.
Yeah, I could just see it going lighter on safety and having.
I don't know. Like Reed, Cook, Edwards, Connor, probably lost for the safety.
And Connor's actually, I mean, he can do both. Corner too, yeah.
So I wonder with safety is Dion Bush, because he played special teams last year.
I just don't love Cook.
Brian Cook?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a rookie last year. I don't know what year.
I know, but every time he was on the field, he had a penalty of some sort.
But they were I remember like half of them were unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, I know.
It seemed like every other game he was getting unsportsmanlike, which like that's
Dude, you're playing 5 snaps a game and you're getting
you've got 2 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. I imagine that's something that Reed has worked out of him already. He's looked pretty good in preseason. Edwards and Drew Tranquil are absolute steals for the money we got him for. It's just stupid. Like Tranquil might lead the team in snaps.
All right, so no, it doesn't mean anything. I just want to throw this out there. I got the new Madden. 4 games into the season, Tranquil has 6 sacks and 4 picks.
All right,
I'm so high on Tranquil right now.
But he does do everything. He's looked good in blitzes. He's running, sideline to sideline. He can cover. If they ever run a 3 linebacker package with Bolton in the middle and then Gay and Tranquil outside, they are going to be able to cover literally the entire field. Just take all the secondary off, let those 3 guys cover, and blitz 8, because they are wild. And Chenal's looked good. Chenal's looked much better this season. He looks more comfortable. He's not out there second guessing himself, which I think is really just huge, especially for a guy who is probably going to be used in blitz packages more often than not. If you're going to blitz, you got to go. It's not, they changed their coverage, I need to go to this hole instead of this hole. It's no, you go. Like they drew it up that way for a reason.
All right. Last but not least, Chris Jones update.
Have you seen the Twitter stuff?
Yep.
Oh, God.
So for anybody that doesn't know, somebody was tweeting at Chris Jones, hey, when are you going to be back? He said week 8. And then somebody else said, it's a hefty tab. And he said, I can afford it.
It was Arrowhead Live, I'm pretty sure, that sent the second.
Yeah. Tweet. So I think we're getting to a point to where It's kind of tough.
I wasn't worried before today.
You can't laugh that off. You can't joke about that, or a lot of other stuff could have been brushed off, but now it's all right. Now you're going to affect the team. And hey, if he misses game 1 of the year and the Chiefs only give up 20 points to what was a top 3 offense in the league last year, and the Chiefs win, he's going to lose any slice of leverage that he had.
Especially without a Menahue too.
Yeah, that's a big gamble. I mean, week 1, I think that the Lions are going to score a lot. I think it's going to be a really high scoring game. People do underrate the Lions a lot. Their offense is insane. It's just last year they had like the worst linebacking core in the entire league. Their secondary was horrible, but they've changed a lot. But
yeah, they drafted a second round safety and a first round linebacker,
and they signed that Eagles corner too.
Yeah, Chauncey Gardner.
So we'll see, but I mean, they're gonna if the Chiefs hold them to 20 points and win, that's gonna be really bad for Chris Jones, I think.
My thing is, like, you're going into you'll be 30 next offseason. Do you want to sit out a year and then have other teams pay you money? Because you're not going to touch $30 million if you sit out a year and turn 30 years old next offseason.
Also,
no team is going to give you that.
Also, that makes it super easy for the Chiefs to franchise tag him next year because it's based on 120% of the salary earned. So if he loses 8 games and only makes $11 million this year, that's the easiest franchise tag ever. And then I'm telling you, he could back himself into a really, really tight corner here.
Well,
he doesn't have to
sign the franchise tag.
Yeah, but he would have nothing at that point.
I mean, I'm sure some team would.
I mean, you could tag him and trade him. I'm just saying if he sits out,
tag and trade. If he does sit out and the franchise tag is lessened, the tag and trade might be the best move because then it's less.
I almost think that
less of a hit for whoever the other team is.
I almost think that if he starts missing games, just trade him. I mean, I was in where I'm at 6 months ago. I was the first person. I swear to God, I was the first person saying, I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good about this. I don't think they're going to sign him. I don't think they're going to sign him. And now we're here. And now I really don't think that they're signing him. I thought it was 50-50 for a long time. And now I don't see it. I'll be the first person to come on here and say I was wrong. I mean, I want us to have the best defensive tackle in the league, but he is turning 30. It's defensive tackle. No, not everybody's Aaron Donald. On that defensive line, 30's old.
Yeah.
30 is really old.
30 is historically when it starts to – I mean, Aaron Donald, granted, has still been a Pro Bowler the last 2 years, but he was 30 when he signed his big extension, when he was won 3 of the last 4 defensive players of the year.
He wanted to retire, though, because he was physically done. Like, he was done.
Yeah. And he's, granted, still, like I said, at a Pro Bowl level, but he's definitely.
And then he just missed a whole year for being hurt.
Like, he's not the same guy.
Yeah.
I don't
know how many games he missed. I know he missed a ton last year.
I saw a trade idea on Twitter. Chris Jones it was an early pick. I don't think it was a first, but a second, and then one of the Lions' young interior defensive linemen. It's Levi Onwuzurike is one of them. And they were both, I think they're both second-round picks. Levi Onwuzurike and Aleem McNeil, who are both, young, upcoming. And then obviously we get the pick for him. Again, go ahead.
I don't remember exactly what the stat is, but there has been so few player-for-player trades in the last 10 years that it's almost doesn't. I mean, Russell Wilson was the last one. And then before that, I mean, It's super rare. You don't really see a lot of play. It's usually a pick for a player. And that's just because they don't know how people are going to fit in their system. Usually a guy from somewhere else doesn't. It usually just doesn't work. I'll do some homework and I'll bring that stat up on the next podcast and I'll tell you how many it was. But I have watched a podcast and they had it all broken down, and it is very rare to trade a player for another player. It just doesn't.
And
it doesn't happen a lot.
I guess how many times is a player of Chris Jones' caliber getting traded? And also, how often is a player of Chris Jones' caliber at Chris Jones' age getting traded? So it's tough. Like, we don't want to give up a first because we might.
You have someone, yeah. I think you have someone in the league who's top 3 at their position get traded every year, but it's usually a haul of picks.
I mean, who was the last one?
Before Russell Wilson started.
Russell Wilson was not a top 3 player at his position when he got traded.
Okay, not a top. Okay, a top player. Let me try and think here.
I don't even know if I would have called Russell that after his last year.
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Brown. I mean, he's not top, but you get what I'm saying. There's really big time blockbuster trades every year. But yeah, maybe not the bet. Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, well,
and they're also
Tyreek Hill too. He got traded.
And that was all picks.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you're
this is also
a
rental.
Picks.
This is 1 year, and then he could go somewhere else.
I think it would be a sign type thing. But anyway, that's my thought on Chris Jones. I don't think he's a Chief in 2024. But I do think that if he starts missing games, he's backing himself. I think he's backing himself into a lose-lose situation for him.
As long as he's a Chief on February, whatever day the Super Bowl is, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. All righty, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for us here, and we will see you next week.